right, 4th grade. So today in math, you are going to learn how to subtract across zeros. And what I mean by that is normally when you have a 0 here and you can't take 5 away from it, you borrow from your neighbor. But when you have a 0 beside a 0, you are not able to borrow from your neighbor yet. So you have to subtract across zeros. So what we do is we look at our neighbor and it's a 0. We can't borrow from him yet. But if our neighbor will borrow from his neighbor, so my 5 becomes a 4, my 0 becomes a 10, now this 0 right here can borrow from its neighbor. So then the 10 will become a 9, and then my 0 will become a 10. So 10 minus 5, I can do that. It's 5. 9 minus 5, you're able to do that. It's 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So you get 245. So let's try another problem. Miss Johnson's just going to use her hands. If I have 3,000 minus 1,542, the same thing as the problem here. Your zeros cannot borrow from each other until they all have their own set of tens from the 3. So my 3 is going to become a 2. My 0 will become a 10. Now this 0 can borrow from this 10 right here. And the 10 will become a 9. And now this 0 becomes a 10. Now this 0 is able to borrow from its neighbor. So it becomes a 9. And this becomes a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 4 is 5. 9 minus 5 is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. So you get 1,458. Subtracting across zeros is a little bit more work and a little bit harder to understand, but you have to remember if the place value you're looking at, if it looks to its neighbor and it doesn't have enough to give, it has to go over and borrow from other people. So it's kind of like spreading the money everywhere. You have to make sure everybody has been taken care of in your math problem. All right, let's do one more. If I have 6,000 minus 2,234. Okay, so I'm looking at this place value right here because we always subtract from the right to the left. It's still early. Miss Johnson's trying to wake up. So if I look at my neighbor, I say, oh, they have nothing for me to borrow from. And if this neighbor looks to this neighbor, they'll realize there's nothing to borrow from. So we're going to subtract all the way across our zeros. The 6 will become a 5. This 0 will become a 10. And then the 10 becomes a 9, so that this 0 can become a 10. Now my 1's place can borrow from my 10's place. This 10 becomes a 9. This 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 3 is 6. 9 minus 2 is 7. 5 minus 2 is 3. I get 3,766. All right, boys and girls. So you're going to practice this skill on iknowit.com. If you are struggling with it, it's okay. This is only day 1. We're going to do different strategies to help us understand subtracting across zeros. But this is just the basics of how to do it. You have to go all the way across and borrow from your, whatever. In this case, we borrowed from our thousands place to make our hundreds place have enough. So the tens place could borrow from the hundreds place, and then the ones place was able to borrow from the tens place. All right. Remember on iknowit.com that when you're working these problems out on your whiteboard or on your piece of paper at home, make sure you line up your numbers in the correct place value order so that they match up. If not, you're going to have some issues when you go to subtract. All right, boys and girls. So good luck, And like I said, if you don't understand this today fully, 100%, that is okay because we are going to practice again tomorrow. All right? Have fun.